What's your point? What's your question?
My point is it points to an intelligent design that was before you
How? How does it point
that
to an
you didn't.
intelligent design?
The human body is an intelligent design.
You can't just say that, right? How do you know
Dinosaurs
this? How do you know this? How do you know this?
through science. The fact that we can
Okay.
reproduce
Okay. How do you tell a design from a non-design?
a design. What do you mean from a non-design? I
Well,
guess everything
you're saying
is a
look, you're
design.
saying this is designed. I'm asking you, what's a non-design? How do you tell the difference? How do we know that something is designed if we don't know what something non-designed is?
Like I said, everything is designed, so there couldn't be a
And if
non-design.
everything is designed, then nothing's designed because you can't tell the difference, right? I can say everything's natural. Okay, just as you say everything's designed, I can say everything's natural, and we don't have a symmetry breaker between these two worlds, right? We can't tell the difference. So saying everything's designed is not a good thing for you.
Well,
It implies you cannot
there's a
falsify.
natural there's natural design, and then there's unnatural. Is that what you're referring to? The fact that you're talking
But
about
how do you know? How do you tell the difference between something unnatural and natural? How do you tell that?
uh for example, the when the body is sick, that's unnatural. When the body
How?
is
How is it
not,
unnatural?
it's unnatural because nature is health. Nature is
What? No, no.
sickness is not a part of
You're making up
nature.
your own. I mean, you're just making up your own definitions for what nature means. To me, I think nature, the general definition of nature is like, matter, material things, space, time, right? Objects. There is no implication for like sickness or I think nature just encapsulates everything into one, and there is no anything the sense of being sick, right, or being wronged or being harmed. I think that's just purely subjective, you know.
Well, no, you can't say that. So, okay, if I okay, do you eat? Well, you're a vegan. You're a vegan, but maybe we can talk about this. I think we might even,
Just make it quick because I
we
have more
might agree.
people. I want to get
Okay,
questions in.
okay. Um, would you say that someone that eats red meat is wrong for what they do, for
Not in any
what they?
objective sense. No, it's all subjective.
But how is that if red meat is categorized as a carcinogen?
Yeah, that is true. Objectively speaking, red meat causes cancer, sure, but
Exactly, that's
that doesn't
wrong.
make it. But when
Cancer
you
is.
But hold on. Whenever we invoke the word wrong, right? When we say something is bad or wrong, that implies that it should have been. You're applying oughts. You're implying some normative claim, right? When in reality, that's completely subjective.
But
Unless you
it's
can,
not subjective according.
unless you can show me how there's an objective wrongness in the universe. I'm open to that. I just don't see how it's possible.
Because if we're talking about, honestly, knowingly eating foods that you know is going to cause you cancer is similar to suicide. If you know that it's actively
Okay,
killing
okay,
you,
and but
so it's
what
not
you, look,
subjective.
when we I understand, but when you say it's wrong to commit this or it's wrong to do this action, that's completely subjective to me. There's no
But I
facts about
explained to
what's
you how it's
wrong
not
there.
subjective. I explained to you, according to science, that's honestly a
You're
form of suicide.
you're conflating a certain result or a certain consequence with it being wrong. You're equivocating those two things when in reality they're ontologically different, right? When we say something causes cancer, in relative to the universe has no care. It's indifferent towards if cancer is bad or good for you, right? It's just an effect that happens, right? And
Happens for a reason.
it's us, the people, who are subjectively saying that this is bad, that cancer is bad. It's us saying cancer is bad.
It's bad because of the negative effects that it can that it.
But who said it's negative, right? You did.
We did because of, I mean, common sense. I
Then
mean,
it's
someone
subjective, meaning it's stance dependent, right? It's subjective.
it's common knowledge though.
It's common to humans because we're all similarly
What
empathetic
else is
beings.
there that we know of other than humans?
Well, animals, other animals.
Okay, do
You're missing.
animals have
Okay,
our
look,
form of conscious?
you're missing the point. In our society, in our animal kingdom, there is clearly a sense of right and wrong. However, it
Thank
is
you.
clear to us because we evolved to be this way. We evolved empathy. But according to the universe, right, without a stance, without going beyond our stances, the universe doesn't seem to care about cancer, in my view. Now, it could be the case that the universe cares. I just don't
When
see
you
evidence
talk
of
about
it.
a universe, do you think this universe is some large human with a conscious that doesn't care? Or
No,
so what are you
I
saying that it
think it's
doesn't care?
just a physical entity. That's it.
We are the universe. I mean, if we make up the universe,
Okay, still physical to me.
but then that would go back
I
to
wouldn't
our
say
common
we
knowledge.
are. I wouldn't say we are the universe. We're just part of it, but the
Part of it,
parts don't equate to the whole. Right? This is a composition fallacy.
but we are the conscious within the universe, the highest. Would you say,
Okay,
right? Or God?
why is this relevant? We are a tiny part of the whole, right? So it would be a composition fallacy to say that because parts of the universe is conscious, the whole thing is conscious, right? That's a composition fallacy.
I think that's what you were saying. You said the universe doesn't care, which you're implying that the universe, right? The universe has a conscious, and I mean, the universe is all of us.
Look, what you're implying could be the case. I don't see anything logically inconsistent with it, but it's not sound to me. I don't see evidence that the universe is conscious at all.
Gotcha. Well, hey, when I know you got to get moving on to other people, but um, so I don't know if you know who I am, but I'm Divine Oracle. Pretty soon, I'm going to release a mark, and this mark in the forehead, mark in the hand, and this is a mark that is going to it's a mark of perfection, and I'm
All
going to
right. Have a
present
good day,
this.
brother. Enjoy your day. What in the world? Hey, how are you?
Find you. I'm just
Good.
wondering, why don't you believe in God?
There's no evidence to me.
Like, like certainly Christianity. Like, what about Christianity that don't you believe in?
Talking donkeys, talking snakes, walking on water, body to bread, virgin births, resurrections, zombies,
So you don't believe in a higher power? Like,
higher power. You mean like a car?
no, like a maker. So you don't believe in you're not agnostic.
I don't know what you mean by maker. What do you mean? Like a
As in
popcorn
the
maker?
creator of the universe.
A creator of the universe. Okay.
Yep.
How does one create a universe?
Oh well, I wouldn't know because I'm not God. But so someone to be God, there's like
Okay, well
specific.
then you should know what you mean by creation before you say the word, right? It's important to get our definitions right. If you don't know what you're talking about, you can't debate. You can't ask questions.
I,
So,
I think I can because like the creator of the universe, someone who creates everything, like someone who creates
what do you mean? How does it create from nothing, from pre-existing material? How does it create, right? There's different
from
ways to
nothing,
do
like
that.
create from nothing.
Create from nothing. Okay. Well, I don't see how it's logically possible for, nothingness to yield something if it's completely inert in every way, right? It's
But
metaphysically inert. How is it going to do something, you know?
wouldn't you say since it's God, we shouldn't apply logic to it? It's beyond our comprehension.
So logic doesn't apply to God?
In certain aspect, yeah, because like maybe we can't understand, we can't understand.
Well then at that point God becomes something like gibberish, right? It becomes completely logically, incoherent at that point, right? If you're going to
Are
say
you saying?
God's beyond logic, then there's no way we can logically understand it.
And I don't think we can understand to full extent, but you could understand some part of it. Like,
Okay, well, from what you're telling me, I don't see any good reason to believe in this thing. I don't even know what you're talking about. It's very, very ambiguous. It's very, very
I mean, I'm a
fuzzy.
Christian, so You said you
Okay.
don't believe in the Bible, like right? Talking. So you don't think it's like historically accurate?
Very, very little, very small,
Like
very mildly accurate. I think a
like
lot of
which?
it is nonsense.
So even though there's like 500 according witnesses to his resurrection, you still don't believe?
There's 5,000 witnesses for Bigfoot, like there's witnesses for all kinds of things. I wouldn't say witnesses are good evidence at all, especially when they're coming from the same source.
Okay, so that's understandable. So you're an atheist, right? Okay, that's it. I just want to know. Have
Okay,
a good
cool.
day.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
So, what do you mean by ethical vegan? That you're an ethical vegan, like you cannot be an ethical non-vegan?
No, what it means is my version of veganism, my position is an ethical, coming from an ethical stance, right? I'm a vegan not for, health reasons. I'm vegan because I want to give animals rights. I want to extend them moral consideration. It's a purely ethical stance.
Animal rights. Do you so now you think you're animals have rights actually, it's in the law. So why you want to rewrite the law, or
They
what the
should. I
issue?
think animals should have rights to life, right? So I don't think we should kill pigs, for example. I think
The animals
pigs,
have rights. Can you read the law? They have
yeah.
rights.
Do you think pigs have a right to life?
Excuse me?
Do you think pigs and cows have the right to live?
The right to live. What's the meaning of that? The right to live?
Yeah, the right to life, right? To live. Do you think that pigs and cows should have that?
Right to live. I'm just trying to understand that the right to live. Okay.
Okay.
Um, right to live.
Come back when you think about it. Hey, how are you?
That's never gonna work out.
Hey, Frieza, how are you? Frieza is a very good vegan advocate, so I appreciate you so much.
Yo, hello?
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. 1 second. All right. I'd like to know, like, why do you believe it's an ethical thing to be a vegan?
Well, because I think animals they don't deserve to be killed or slaughtered.
Okay. So, like, would you apply that same logic to insects, for example?
Yeah, insects are animals, they're sentient too. We shouldn't harm them if they don't deserve to be harmed.
Hmm. So, if you were to, like, step on an ant, would you equate that to, like, killing a pig, for example?
No, I wouldn't equate it to killing a pig, but I would still think it's wrong if you're intentionally, killing an ant.
Mhm.
But again, there are certain parameters in which we can exist within. I can't stop all killing, all death I cause, right? I can't watch every step I take
Yeah.
or every square inch of road I roll upon when I'm driving for ants or bugs. So we have to be practical about this. But yes, within those parameters, I think animals deserve the right to live. If you're an ant, a bug, an insect, if
Mm-hmm.
you're sentient, you should enjoy that experience.
Hmm. So, like, because I've never really, like, um, thought too much about veganism. So, how would you convince somebody to be a vegan?
It doesn't need convincing, right?
Mm-hmm.
All it needs is an internal criticism of your own view, right?
Okay.
All it takes is a question, one question. Why are you harming animals? What justifies that, right? And you'll find if you do this exercise, you can't justify it, you know? So,
Interesting. I mean, I would make the argument that Okay, how could like a pig or a cow, for example, be used more productively other than food, whether it be for humans or for other animals?
I don't think animals should ever be used for our advantage or benefit.
Okay. But okay, like if like a cow were to not be slaughtered, how could he be of more productive use to anything else or to the environment, to other predators?
I don't understand your point. We are the ones breeding animals into existence in the first place. They shouldn't exist. We're the ones who forced them to be here and forced them to be enslaved, right? I'm against that. Now, if you're asking with the animals we have today, where else should they be put, right? If you're asking that question, I think that they should be happy and free, right? I think that animals like the cows we have today should be in sanctuaries where they're fed and they're helped until they die. But we should never be we should never continue breeding these animals into existence to be slaves. That's ridiculous to me.
Hmm. Interesting. All right, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, how you doing? Sorry about that. Can you hear
Hi.
me okay?
Yes.
So yeah, I've really appreciated the conversations that you've been having so far, and I wanted to talk to you about atheism and science, if that's something that's interesting to you.
Okay.
Cool. So first of all, I think that any reasonable or legitimate theology must be prescriptive as opposed to descriptive. Sorry, must be descriptive as opposed to prescriptive. I don't think that a theology should be able to prescribe something and then superimpose it on the natural world. I think it should be something that describes what is reality. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Great.
What's the question?
Um, Sorry?
Yeah, what's the question?
Yeah, so I guess the first question is, are you familiar with the Spandrel hypothesis?
No.
Are you interested in hearing about it? I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it
Yeah, I
seems
mean
like you're
really briefly, please, but
sure.
what's the
Yeah, so
question
the
after?
idea is that evolution has structurally integral elements, such as for humans, working together, language, agency detection, these sorts of things. And the spandrel comes from a cathedral. So cathedrals have
Oh, yeah, I've heard about this. Yes, I've heard about this.
great. So that essentially things like spirituality, belief in God, love, these things are essentially evolutionary offshoots or byproducts that, um, yeah, they're byproducts of our evolutionary uh, elements that are structurally integral
Okay.
to our survival.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And so, like, I think it was, you made a great point that, like, putting that one person who had like a pyramid on their circle or whatever, they were making value statements about like good or bad or right or wrong and that sort of thing. And I think, like, um, it
Yeah,
is very difficult.
are you agreeing with me here, or do you have a question for me?
Yeah, well, so I wanted to give you a perspective that I think is in line with your own perspective, um, but also challenges it as well.
Okay, so can you just like what's the question there?
Well, I mean, the question is like, do you think that morality can be objective or not?
No, I don't think it makes coherent sense to talk about objective or stance independent morality. The reason being is there is no part of like when we say something is objective like gravity, we can measure gravity objectively,
Mhm.
right? Whether or not your stance is if you jump off a building, you're going to fall and you might die um, without a parachute, right? So when it comes to gravity, we can objectively verify this and measure gravity. But when it comes to morality, if we say that morality is objective, well, there's nothing you're measuring objectively, right? There's nothing you can independently measure um, that goes beyond our stances that would be able to measure wrongness or goodness in nature. For example, when we measure gravity, we're measuring like particles, mass, right? We're measuring atoms. Imagine if, typically the more matter we have, the more mass and gravity it has, right? When it comes to wrongness, there would be some kind of like wrong particle, right? If you had enough of these wrong particles, then it would be a wrong thing to do, right? And this, to me, if you apply this to things like taste, right? We would never say taste is objective. Like if I tasted pizza and I like it, we would never say that pizza was objectively good tasting because there was something about the pizza. It's always coming from our stances. So just like in a way you cannot measure a good pizza independently of stance, you cannot measure morality independently of stance. Um, but I could be wrong about this perhaps, but there would have to be some kind of natural particle that yields wrongness, which I don't see
I would
evidence for.
argue that there is a natural, not necessarily a natural particle, but a natural process that argues for objective morality.
Where? What is it?
Yeah, I think biology actually asks for objective morality.
How?
Sure. So, what are the two main functions of biology?
Replication, reproduction, metabolism.
Yep. Yeah, reproduction and survival, right? Self preservation.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so, I think to me, the objective morality in that is acknowledging that other beings are also trying to survive and reproduce. And therefore, the morality is to understand on a higher plane that these two functions are essential for life to enjoy and exist.
Okay, I agree. But how do you know that just because somebody dies, that's bad objectively without your stance getting in the way?
I didn't say that, but to die in a
Okay,
way that is,
then you don't have objective morality, right?
I disagree. I think that there are ways to die that are bad.
Well, no, then no, that's not the question. The contention is how are you measuring wrongness beyond stances? How are you doing
Yeah,
it?
I mean, look, I think you and I can both agree that there are a myriad of extreme examples that are objectively wrong, that every person that is
You keep
rational would
saying
agree
this,
it
but
is
you're
objective.
never showing why, right? You're never giving the
Oh,
mechanism.
yes, because yeah, what I'm saying is that my goal is to survive. My goal is to protect
I
myself.
know that, sir. I know
Mhm.
that, but why does that mean it's objectively good?
Because oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So like, um, then maybe good is not the right way, but like ethical would be the right term.
Okay.
Well, you're arguing that you're an ethical
Well,
vegan. What does that mean?
when I say ethics, we're not. I'm talking about some kind of normative framework where I'm holding to this position that we should not harm animals. We should give them rights, right? It doesn't matter about my meta ethics there. Right? I'm not. It doesn't matter if morality is objective or subjective. It's
But you're saying
totally
it's
normal.
objectively wrong to harm animals.
No, I'm
That's
not.
what your ethics
I
is.
have never said that in my life.
I think that's disingenuous.
Oh, so when was that ever my position? I'd love to hear this.
You just said that you should avoid you should avoid harming animals.
In my view, that's my
Why?
subjective stance.
Yeah, you would argue that that's a subjective stance and that it's perfectly acceptable for somebody else to harm animals in any
It's
way
no,
so
no,
that
no,
they
no, no,
perceive.
no, no. It's not acceptable to me, right? It might be acceptable to you, but when I debate
Exactly.
veganism,
That's where morality comes in the acknowledgement that it is better for everybody to have a contractual agreement,
that's
a societal
still within the
contractual agreement.
subjectivist framework, right? That still is compatible with subjectivism.
It's less subjective than it is. It's less
What?
subjective, and it just is.
What do you mean less subjective? What do you mean by that? Do you know what subjective even means?
Yeah, relative to
No.
one's perspective. Yeah,
It's
relative to one's perspective.
subjectivist mean that we think that there is that moralities, all moral statements are mind and stance dependent.
The problem is that subjective morality allows for anybody to prescribe whatever they see fit.
So does objective morality. So does subjective morality. All morality does. Hey, how are you?
Hey Mike, how you doing?
Great.
So I do have a couple questions about veganism. So I just wanted to know where your turning point was where you became vegan.
About 6 years ago, actually, to the day, I was researching food, I was researching diet, and I stumbled across, I was looking at meats, seeing which ones are the healthiest ones. I learned and learned, I recognized that meats were not healthy. And then I learned about how meat was produced, and I stumbled across a farm video of a cow being slaughtered. And I
Mm,
saw the cow being hung up on the rack, feet down, uh,
yeah,
head down, and it was being slaughtered while it was conscious, and its legs were dangling and kicking, and I felt like shit. And
yeah,
and then I turned off my iPad. I got sick of that. I turned it off, and I looked over and I see my two dogs standing there, and I just look them in the eyes, and um I get reminded of all the memories I have with them, and it clicks for me at that moment that dogs, I see the dog as family. And when it came to a cow, there's no difference between a cow and a dog that would render them, not family, or not, worthy of being a family. And that's why I changed, because I recognize in that moment how we treat certain animals like shit and some others better. And that's why I went vegan.
yeah. I appreciate that answer because you've honestly helped me turn a corner and become vegan. I was vegetarian and I didn't think about all like the milk and cheese type things for a long time. So that really helped me come to perspective. I have two other questions though. I wrote them down. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to mute out and just go to my notes.
Okay.
Feel about like the hate towards vegans and like do you think it's a self-reflection of people and like their guilt, or do you think that they're just like actually angry that people don't eat meat?
No, I think what's happening is a multitude of things. First of all, yes, most people are selfish, and we don't like to be told we're wrong, right? We all want to be right. We don't want to be wrong. So when we're confronted with this harsh reality, people telling us you're doing something wrong, we just want to close our ears and shut our brains. Um, so in other words, cognitive dissonance is taking place there. But you also have this idea that it's normal to pick at vegans. It's normal to, hate the weak, skinny vegan. That's normalized. So people also fall for that. Um, and, people also are desensitized to violence today. And people don't see the suffering. So that all this combines into this just resistance, this resistant force that's pushing and pulling away from it, because it just wants to be disconnected from the animals and who they are. So all these things come into play. It's a psychological game that vegans have to combat every time we debate these things.
Yeah, I agree. I tended to block out a lot of these like documentaries for a long time just because I couldn't deal with it. And then once I started thinking about it again and watching them again, I realized. And then just my last question, real quick, is how do you feel about like vegan labels and like what they're putting in our foods? I know that you answered a question that I sent you about flour. Um, but I feel like it's kind of funny that like not everything is labeled vegan, and I feel like afraid to eat some stuff sometimes. I just wondered how you felt about that.
Look, yeah, nobody's perfect here. And there are some companies who have put vegan labels on foods and it was inaccurate. Um, but I think that nobody's perfect here, right? We have to deal with what we're dealt with, but at the same time, we should be cautious and check the labels and everything. But I think it's better if you're skeptical about something, research further, and if you really have researched enough and you still don't know, but it has a vegan label, then do it because likely it's better. You're better off supporting vegan products. The more production of vegan products, demanding more vegan products than not, right? So I think that you should just do it anyway. If it's vegan, if it says vegan, do it, buy it, because it's most likely it is vegan.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi.
Hi, I have a question for you. So you're a vegan, right?
Yeah.
And you think animals are more pretty good, right? We don't kill them for meat and all that.
What do you mean, pretty good?
Well, animals, as in like you don't kill them, or what your
Well,
belief says,
no,
like as a vegan.
I don't. I'm not. My position is not that vegans shouldn't, animals shouldn't die. What I'm saying is they deserve rights, and just like people deserve rights, but there are some circumstances which people can be harmed, right? For self-defense, for
Mhm.
all kinds of reasons. So can animals, but at baseline, animals should deserve rights, right? If they're
Okay,
innocent,
all right, Mike. So I have one question for you. If there
okay.
was a burning barn, right, and there's a 4-year-old child in that barn with a cow, which one would you save?
The baby, the human being is more
Yeah.
valuable to me
Okay.
than
Okay. So
than
you're
the
so
animal.
you're admitting that humans are more superior.
When did I ever say humans are less superior or equally valuable as a cow? When did I ever say that?
You always say it all the time. I'm always watching your lives, and you're saying you
I've
literally just said bugs are the same thing as animals.
no, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. You just
You're
said all life, and
no,
you're
you're
an
not
atheist of all
you
things. You don't even
you have
believe in God or nothing.
misunderstood, sir. You have misunderstood. I never said that all animals are equal to humans.
So
No,
just say the words. Humans are more
listen. You have to
superior.
listen. This is your
Just say
listening.
those words.
This is your listening turn. Okay. I never said that a cow is equivalent in all regards to a human. What I'm saying is they equally deserve rights. Okay. They're not equally as valuable, right? I think I'm more valuable than you, sir, but I don't think I should harm you for that, right? So that's the point. There are some people in this world that are not as valuable as me. There's some people that are more valuable than me, right? Bill Gates, Elon Musk. They have more economic value, more societal value. I don't, okay? But that doesn't give them or me the right to harm each other, right? And just like the animals, yes, although we have way more value than an animal in many regards, I think they equally deserve rights because why? They're sentient, they're conscious, they're aware, they're thinking, they're experiencing, and that's what grants them the right to live and experience. That's it. Go ahead and unmute yourself now when you're ready. It's the little microphone button.
I got it. Can you hear me?
Unfortunately.
Okay. It's your lucky day. But you answered the barn question. So you literally admitted that you would save a child over another cow. So you are admitting that humans are more superior. That's my whole point here, dude.
We're superior in some circumstances, but there are some circumstances where cows are superior than us in terms of
How? In what way?
Their sense of smell, their sense of hearing,
Okay, we
their.
all right, but human beings have more than that.
I
You cannot
agree. That's
compare
why I
animals
think
to
that
human
that's
beings,
why I
man.
think humans are more valuable than the cow.
Yeah, okay, so you would save the baby child instead of a baby cow.
Yes, but yes, I would.
So you're pretty much telling me, because earlier you were talking to the other dude, and you told us that bugs have the same they're superior beings, just like us,
I never said
and
bugs are.
animals.
I never said bugs are as valuable as a human. I don't think I've ever said that in my entire life.
You did. You literally did. The other
When?
dude.
When?
The
No.
dude
What?
asked you that the dude asked you that
I don't
are
know. I don't
bugs
know why.
superior, and
I just
you
explain. I
told
just
him,
explained this
and
to you.
you told him that
I can't believe this. I just explained this to you. You didn't listen, right? Here we go again. Another person that just wants to get gets the vegan. No, listen up. Bugs deserve rights to life. I never said they're as valuable as a person or a cow or a dog. They're not. Bugs have way less sentience. They have way less value, but they still deserve rights. Why? Because they're sentient and they're conscious and they're aware. It's that simple. Okay. Value is irrelevant here. The degrees of value after that of which is sufficient enough to warrant them rights is irrelevant to veganism. So, do you have any actual valid questions this time, or whenever you're ready? Well, it looks like it's hard for you to learn things. I already taught you these. Already taught you how to unmute yourself. You didn't learn. Right? I told you my stance. You didn't learn that either. Right? I guess it's hard for you to learn things.
I just told you about the cow thing. If you don't milk a
Okay.
cow, it can
Do you have a
die.
valid question this
You
time?
do know that, right? Scientifically, you do know that, right? You're a smart man. You should know this.
Know what?
That if you don't milk a cow, it can physically die. So what's the
And
harm of a human being drinking
and,
that milk?
and
Why
whose
you
fault is
vegans
that?
are like scared of it?
Condor, whose fault is it that those cows have to be milked or they get infections and die? Whose fault is that?
Nobody's. It's just nature,
No, it
dude.
is
No,
not
no
nobody's
cows
fault.
in danger. I don't know what world you're living in. No
Condor.
cows in danger, dude.
Condor, do you understand that we have artificially bred cows to the point where their mammary glands are so large in order to give us enough milk? Do you understand that we are the ones who put them in this situation in the first place? We are the ones who gave them that ability to develop infections more easily. Because why? We want more milk.
How do we give cows infections?
We
Like,
artificially bred
tell
them.
us. Tell us.
We didn't give them infections. We gave them large mammary glands, which develop infections way easier because they develop more milk. Why? Because of human consumption. See, it's our fault, and that's what we're against. We're against that nonsense in the first place. You're for it. You want more of that. I want none of that.
So, you eating a slice of cheese scares you, or an egg? You do know chickens? You know when they're on their periods, they're not even pregnant or nothing. They lay
Yeah.
eggs. You do know
So,
that, right? But you can't eat it.
yeah. So, eggs isn't just about the hen, it's also about the process. A lot of eggs are produced, and the chicks are grinded alive immediately, right? They're grinded alive because they're not
I'm
valuable to
not
the farming
talking about
industry.
the chicks being grinded
Well,
alive,
then
dude.
that's the
I'm
point.
talking about
Then you're
the
missing the
hens who lay
context.
eggs.
Condor.
If you
Condor. You're missing the entire context. It's the process that's exploitative and harmful, right? Now, there are some vegans who think that backyard eggs are okay, right? I disagree because that's normalizing it. But some vegans might even agree with you that backyard eggs are okay. What the main premise of veganism is hey, let's reduce harm and let's give animals rights. And that's all it means. It doesn't mean everything stops. We eliminate all, bad things. Right? It's just about doing what you can, being practicable, and that's it. So, but nice try trying to get the vegan. Didn't work that time.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great.
Just had a question. I've seen you on live before on another account, obviously pretending to be a religious person. Is that just like a bit, or are you just grifting for money?
I don't make money on TikTok Live, sir. So no, I'm not grifting for money. I make way more money outside of TikTok Lives. But yeah, it's a funny thing for me because it's entertaining for the people, and I think it illuminates many issues within Christian doctrine.
But your primary, I feel like the people that are joining you are arguing against religion. They're not really Christians arguing with you.
Many are Christians, but what is your point? What is your question?
Well, I was just asking you if you genuinely believe what's behind you now, just because I also see you pretending to believe something else right on here, right? So
Yes, this is the real me now.
okay, I was just wondering because obviously, like, that is bait to piss people off, and I can tell that it's not just Christians that you're pissing off. Obviously, they're not very smart if they can't tell that you're.
Okay, look, don't do that. Just give your question, please.
That was my question. Is this your genuine thoughts behind you?
Have a good day, dude. Don't insult people like that.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, how can I help you?
So I was listening earlier when you were talking about morality, like, and how it can't be objective because we don't have a way of measuring it. And I guess it got me thinking, and I'm wondering, like, would we be able to measure it by, like, the positive or negative impact that it has?
Yeah, it's circular, right? This is circular because the moment you say, how do we, can we measure it by the positive impacts? Well, the moment you say positive is the exact moment you're injecting this subjective framework into it, right? Now you're saying that it's negative. Why? Because I want it to be, I think it's negative. I don't like it. I don't prefer it. So you can't escape this conundrum, right? Every time you say something's negative, it seems to me that it's always coming from our stances. There's nothing independent from our stances that would make something good or bad or positive or negative.
Okay, what about healthy or unhealthy?
Okay, so there might be some factors that you can objectively measure to be healthier than another, but it still wouldn't make it better to be healthier, right? When you say something's better or worse, that's subjective, right?
What do you mean? How would it not be better if it was healthier?
Well, why is being healthy better?
Because I mean, I feel like it's self-explanatory. I don't know how to answer that.
Well, there must be a reason why it's better.
Because I mean, look up the definition of healthy. I mean, it's going to
Well,
result in.
Look, I know you have this intuition that being healthy is better. We all do, right? It's a very keen sense of intuition that being healthy is good. But that's coming from our own person, right? We're the ones saying it's better. Why? Because we're invested in our health. That's clearly the reason why we're saying it's better.
Well, I don't
But
mean just for us. I mean,
according
like, for the
to
environment, for the world, for
but
humanity.
Stephanie, according to a parasite who is, or a bacterium who is feasting on your body, on your dead corpse, it doesn't think it's better for you to be healthy, right? So who's right? Right? How do we know which of us are right? The amoeba eating at your dead corpse, or me, the one who wants my body to be sustained? It's impossible to tell who's right because there is no right or wrong answer to me.
Interesting.
Okay. Any other
Okay.
questions?
Nope, that was it.
But these are elementary questions. I don't even think about metaethics anymore. I don't even. It doesn't even. I don't care about it anymore. Right? I'm just over it. To me, I live my life entirely through my subjective framework, and it makes all the sense to me. I don't even question, oh, is morality objective or subjective? It doesn't even cross my mind. It's not. It's just trivial to me.
Okay, how's it going, Mike?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. So I wanted to open by saying I agree with you on science. I'm a theist, but that's not the reason I came up. I'm here to talk about veganism. I don't hate vegans at all. I'm sorry that people do. I believe that part of my theism is that every human being deserves dignity and respect, and so I'm sorry that people treat you without dignity and respect. That's terrible. Um, and I fully agree with you that animals deserve also to be treated with more dignity than they are. Humanity has absolutely created genetic monstrosities in both the pursuit of food and the pursuit of companions. And so we really do have a lot of commonality here. Where I get hung up on ethical veganism is um, full disclosure, my family owns a bison ranch. So um, each bison we raise, so for the, I don't know, millions of calories, I can't do the math off the top of my head, but lots and lots of calories, we kill one bison. And I'm also aware, and you've talked about the realities of like modern farming, modern ranching. If you're familiar with the John Bluth film, The Secret of Nim, right? Those are mice, those are rats, right? They're not scrambling to move their house because they're going to be harvested for food. They're scrambling to move because the farm they live on is about to be harvested. And for each like corn, shock of corn, for each wheat shock, whatever, right? So every time you eat a loaf of bread, countless mice and rats and voiles and other, and I'm not, bugs aside, right? Countless mammals have died. So you can have that loaf of bread and the calories that are there. But when I go into my freezer that has one bison in it, that's still that same one animal that died for those calories. So
Yeah.
that's where I get hung up on ethical veganism, is that I can kill one animal, and we raise these animals, right? Because I agree with you, factory farming is terrible.
Yeah. So the problem with this idea, so first of all, there's many issues with this. First of all, veganism doesn't mean I kill less animals than you, therefore I'm better. Right? It's not about the number of animals that makes us superior. It's about upholding animal rights. So even one animal, one bison's rights being taken away because of you want to cultivate them, that's still wrong to me. But furthermore, right, you can make a utilitarian case, for what you're saying. Yeah, I only kill one bison, Mike. You're killing many ants and bugs in the fields. The problem is, even under utilitarian view of what you're suggesting, if we were to scale this up to 8 billion people, or in other words, if everybody were to adopt your view, it would entail 8 billion people raising at least 8 billion bison. And we know it's going to be more than that, right? And you're also forgetting all the grasses that you have to feed these bison, right? Their food. And, many
Well, they
parts of the
graze,
world, many
so
parts.
they graze on their own on pasture,
Yeah, but
and
there's not
so
enough
and
land.
they,
There
I mean,
wouldn't
they
be
might
enough
stomp
land.
on a,
Yeah, so
sure.
there wouldn't be enough land for 8 billion bison to, feed on and graze. So we would have to cut down trees to make way for grasses. plus all the imported grass from different countries during the winters, and you're not factoring in all those deaths too from all those bugs that you're killing from those fields. So at the end of the day, you're still killing billion. You would still be killing 8 billion bison plus all those crops, and it would be still way more destructive on a scaled level, globally. Not even globally, right? Regionally. It would still be worse than us just consuming vegan products, as vegan products are way more efficient. Plus, on top of that, we support vertical farming. We support hydroponics, entailing no animal death at all, no pesticide use that kills bugs. So there are many wrong things with what you're suggesting for on many different levels. Mainly, it goes against what veganism even means. Plus all those other side effects, even if you were to take your case in a utilitarian way. So yeah, those are the reasons why I think what you're suggesting is the wrong path.
I mean, and I respect what you're saying in the future, right? I think that if we had like these massive vertical farms and we had that, we could scale up that technology. I think that you're like ultimately exactly right. I just don't think humanity is there yet. And so,
Okay, well, there was a point where humanity wasn't
right.
there in terms of slavery, right? But we changed, and it takes time. Just because it takes time doesn't mean we should do what you're doing and continue what you're doing, right? We should still continue to strive towards veganism.
Fair. Like I said, I respect your position. I appreciate you advocating for it, and I think you like full rights to advocate for it. So, anyway,
Thank you.
Yeah, you have a wonderful day.
You too. What about horizontal farming? We already do that. Keto? Yeah, keto is very, very unhealthy. You can be a vegan, be keto, still be unhealthy for you. What about diagonal farming? We already do that too. Maybe space farming is something we could do. Quantum farming? But yeah, the future is vegan. Whether you like it or not, it's not sustainable to do any kind of animal farming. It's never sustainable. It's always more sustainable to go to do the organic farming. It's just going to take people to recognize that, you know. What about the abortion topic? What about it? I don't like talking about abortion. It's way too boring. You know, it's like, oh, but it's murder. No, it's bodily autonomy. It's murder. No, it's bodily autonomy. It's murder. It's just back and forth. That's all it is. It's boring. Lab grown meat. Well, everything's lab grown these days. I mean, what's not made in a lab? Cultivated meat is a way better term because that's what it really is, right? It's cultured. You're taking a cell, you're putting it in a thing, growing it from stem cells. That's all it is. It's not like this potion, this pill. It's real meat. It's really real meat, genuine meat. Um, it's just growing in a lab setting. You know, that's all. It doesn't mean that it's potion magic. It's cultivated meat vegan. There are some vegans who say it is, some who don't. I think it's not technically vegan, but it's better than any kind of farming we do today. way better than any kind of animal farming today. So I think it's going to be the bridge. It's going to that's going to get us to a vegan world, a plant-based world. So I support it, but I support pure veganism more. But of course, I think that it has to make in order for it to make in order for the future to happen, we have to do that. Would you say you're healthier than a meat eater? Absolutely. Biden or Trump? Biden, unfortunately. Did you see all the AI at the Apple event today? Yeah, just like I predicted. Video searches, AI integration into the iOS, just like I predicted. I think I even mentioned Apple in my video. Will vegan meat alternatives get closer to meat? I have high hopes that it could. Probably. Okay, let's see if this person wants to come up.
Yo, how's it going?
Hi.
Assalamu alaikum, Mike. How you doing today?
Assalamu alaikum.
You're supposed to respond by saying walaikum assalam. That wasn't the right response. Okay, whatever. So, what do you want to talk about?
You have a question?
Yeah, why are you so handsome?
Do you have another question?
Okay, yeah, veganism. Yeah, it's okay. Like, if you want to be vegan, that's okay. But eating meat is okay as well. Like, you eat you eat
Well,
your
that's like
thing.
saying, that's like saying, well, it's okay if you want to be vegan, but it's also okay if you want to be Jeffrey Dahmer, right? I think that's
No,
ridiculous.
no, that's a stretch. Like, you can't
Okay,
you can't compare
then your
eating it.
job, look, then your job is to justify your actions. If you can't justify it, then by your own admission, you're wrong, right? So
Yeah, my justification is that the Quran allows me to eat meat, and the Quran is perfect, and it's the word of God.
okay.
So that's my justification.
So if the Quran says it, it's good.
Yes, absolutely,
Okay.
110%.
So what if the Quran said to eat people? Would you do that? Would you think it's good to eat people?
Nah, you're not doing these hypotheticals with me.
Oh,
You doing hypotheticals.
oh no, my logic is being
Nah,
exposed.
the Quran doesn't say that. It doesn't say you can eat
Well,
people.
this is why your ethical framework is shitty. Because if the book said grape was good or murder was good, you would just do it. You go, okay, murder's good because the book says so. That's a problem because maybe your actions, if you follow the book to a T, it might end up harming somebody, right? And if you
No,
want to
that's not
minimize
right.
harm, then you should, as you just
Quran's perfect.
conceded, you want to minimize harm. You would never do that, right? Would you ever grape somebody if the Quran said it?
But it doesn't say that.
But can you answer the question? Would you grape somebody if the Quran said you had to or you could?
That would go against the nature of God, but nah, that makes no sense. And that hypothetical doesn't make any sense. Why the Quran would never say something like that.
Sir, if your God allowed grape, would you grape somebody if God said it's good to do?
Even though he would never say it.
So we're talking about a world where God says it. Would you follow God in this circumstance?
I would really doubt the Quran being the word of God then.
Okay, then your entire worldview collapses because you don't have a way of knowing if what your Quran says is actually good.
Well,
You're just
I know
following it.
now. I know now because it doesn't say bad things. It only says good things.
Well,
So
okay.
therefore,
So where it said, do you
No,
think
no, no,
beating
no.
do you think beating your wife is okay and good to do?
I don't know. Wait,
You don't know beating your wife is
wait.
okay if you just for her disobeying you.
Um. Yes.
You think it's bad.
Yeah.
But your
What,
Quran
what do you
says
mean
you can do
disobeying?
it. Your Quran says you could beat your wife in 434.
Yeah. Well, if it's light beating, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's just light beating.
Like a smack.
That's got nothing to do with these three topics anyway.
Well,
That's
I'm
got nothing
sorry,
to do.
sir.
Wait.
I'm not gonna entertain a domestic abuser. I just want to know. Oh my God, my foot's asleep. I've been having it up for this whole time. Okay. I want to know why Mike won't bring me up. I've always been respectful. You're not even in my requests.
Good evening.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good.
Mike, I just want to say one thing. I've been watching you for a while now. And I got to say, without the talks and analogies about flying penises, graping animals, and equating eating animals to humans, you really don't got a lick an argument about veganism.
All right, sir. Well, then come on up and justify harming
Mark,
animals.
I've had this debate with you, and I'm going to tell you this one thing, and you let this stew with you. Atheism, Mike, if you're wrong, you're going to burn in hell for eternity. If I'm wrong, ain't nothing going to happen. Remember
So,
that.
what if you're wrong about Zeus or Thor or Mithras or
I ain't
Dionysus, all
talking
the different
about Greek
gods?
mythology.
Oh well, what if you're wrong about those and you go to their hell?
I ain't going to their hell. I believe in Jesus Christ.
But what if you're wrong about Jesus?
If I'm wrong, nothing happens, Mike. If you're wrong, you're going to burn in hell.
So you're saying all the other gods, the thousands of other gods, are all wrong?
They're wrong too.
How do you know that?
I got Jesus in my heart. That's how I know. It's called faith, brother. You
All right,
can't prove it
you're
with
just a troll. You're just a troll. I got Jesus in my heart. You can't tell these days, though. You cannot tell these days. It's getting harder and harder to tell if someone's a troll.